Hello, hello everybody, this is Tag Sniped, and today I'm going to be showing a little redstone contraption I made. This is based off of a design by xisuma. This is xisuma's design. He made this system where you have a shelf, and then when you pull out an item, a dispenser, the correct dispenser, automatically refills it with a single item. Yeah, that's his design. You can see it here. I'm not going to go into too much detail over it. He went over it in his video. The modification I made is I basically replaced the dispenser with this module here. What this module does is when you activate it, oh, I'm missing a block here. When you activate it, it lets through a stack of items into this chest. Right now it's going to be a little bit more than a stack because that block was missing. The way it does that is it toggles these two redstone dust. Right now it is in drain pot mode. So as you can see, this top hopper is locked and the bottom one is empty. So this pot is being drained into the chest. And because the pot can only hold one stack, it's going to let through a stack. And then once it finishes doing that, this comparator will turn off, which will turn on this torch and toggle it back. And then this dust will turn off and this one will turn on, allowing the pot to be refilled from the contents of the chest. As you can see, it already happened. The bottom dust is on and the top one is off. So now the pot is being refilled. This is a slightly modified version of it. This is a tileable version of the same system that lets through a stack. So this one let through a little bit more than a stack because this top block was missing. But if I were to drain this and then toggle this one, you'll see it'll let through exactly a stack. And we can redo this one as well. And you'll see it'll let through exactly a stack. We'll check on that in a sec. Using this, I stacked an item filter on top. And what this allows us to do is I filter out into these chests. Each one has a different item. And then at the push of a button over here in the back, I can refill this shulker box. That one was full. Let's make sure this is empty. Yes, this is empty. At the push of a button, I can refill a shulker box with one stack from each one of these. And there's 27 modules here, so it should fill it up with exactly 27 stacks, which should be just one exact full shulker. And as you can see by the lights turning on, it is now on. The bottom hopper is unlocked and the top one is locked. And it is now draining items from these chests. Oh no, from the pots. It's draining items from the pots into the shulker. These bottom pots aren't necessary. I just did this in order for this thing to work at 3 times hopper speed. If you just have this line of hoppers on both sides pointing in and then here pointing into a shulker box, that would work as well. But as you can see, it is being filled up. Once it fills up with a stack, it moves on to another item because there's a little bit of a backlog over here. Now, these two should be done. As you can see, exactly a stack went through. And there was already something there and it let through another stack. So by replacing those dispensers with the system that lets through stacks, you can now, if I go into survival, you can now see that this thing has a full stack in each slot, and then it'll refill it with another full stack. Now, once there's an item in here, you can pull out from another item, like this one. But you do want to wait until this one gets an item before you do anything else, or else the system can break. The reason why it's not getting an item right now is because hopper priority, it's getting backed up here. Once this one finishes putting the sand through, it'll start putting the red wool through. And there you go. And now we could take out one of the other ones if we want. However, you do want to give it time in order to finish the full cycle, because right now those two pots are being refilled, and if you don't give it enough time to finish refilling before you take out another one, you're not going to get a full stack. It's not exactly going to break it, you're just not going to get a full stack of items to do, but I believe it's been long enough, so we should get another full stack of sand. Yep. So it refills it with a full stack every time you take it out. This is not for swapping items. It can't detect that, and if you do it while it's refilling, it'll back up into this hopper. Yeah. Anywho's. Oh, hold on. This is a quick overview of the redstone. What this does is a comparator detects it, puts a signal to this side, and then over here, this one needs to be in subtract mode, subtracts from a full one. So what this does is it makes sure that the comparator is balanced. The signal is balanced, so there's only ever 1 0. As this side goes up in power, this side goes down because of the subtract. Now what that means is that when you only have one slot missing, only one of the torches turns on. However, you can break the system by removing 2 slots, and then it'll trigger. This is where it triggers for having those 2 slots empty. But we only want to detect when 1 slot is empty. There we go. That's how it works. If you want to build it, this is the bottom layer. I'm gonna turn down the music real quick. I don't know why 5% is so loud. I think that's a bug that's been in the game for ages. This is the bottom layer. If you're on Bedrock, this comparator takes slightly longer than this one to update. So what you need to do is move these out one to over here. It'll still work the same, and put repeaters with 4 ticks of delay here. It also works on, where's the repeater? It also works on Java like this. But yeah, on Bedrock, you want to make sure you have these repeaters with 4 ticks of delay. Now, the way this system works with this torch, making it so that these two are in opposite states. For some reason, Bedrock also has more delay on the torch, I think. Because when it switches, this hopper will let through an extra item. So instead of getting an exact stack, you'll get a stack and 1. There is a way to fix it, but you kind of need to do what this one does, where you have two lamps instead of a torch in order to invert the power. Now, this works on both Java and Bedrock. In Java, you can have this further forward. I know some servers have some tweaks to make redstone less laggy, and you might need this repeaters if you're playing on those servers as well. So you put blocks on top of the redstone torches, and then this is the activation line that goes through that goes and toggles the system to let through a stack. Now, on top of this, you need a hopper pointing down, and then you need the 3 pointing in from the sides. And we're going to put the pots on top of those. And then we should build the middle system first, because that one's more complicated. It's a little bit hard to snuggle it in, but it works. Here you put a torch. This torch will lock that hopper. And then with a comparator, we can read the contents of the pot. In Java, you are going to read that this torch is powering it, but that's not going to cause an issue. In Bedrock, it does read the contents of that, of the container, instead of reading the redstone power behind it. And then we go into a torch. Lamps on top. These are the lamps that are going to toggle the states, and then with the comparator on top of each. Now, when you have the lamps over here on the side and they're not feeding into a torch, if you have these in opposite states, you can do the same thing as over here. It's just you have to wire this line into both lamps instead of just one in order to And that's what you would do for Bedrock. Over here, you need to have 2 lamps instead of 1 for Bedrock on the side with comparators directly powering the hoppers instead of having these dust and the torch. And then here on top, we'll put a block and a repeater with no delay so that it doesn't cause an issue. Now the repeater and the torch theoretically both have a tick of delay, so it shouldn't cause an issue. And I believe the update order of Java is slightly different from Bedrock, which is what causes the issue using the torch in the other system. And then on top of the pots, hoppers pointing down. And this system is set up. Now we only need to get the activation mode, which is torch with the dust behind it. Now if you have this closer, you just have a single dust here, but because it's a little further away, we just extend it over with the dust. Now over here on the side, we have the 2 blocks there with the dust. Then we have a block up here with the torch and a block on top of it. And this is what causes these to be toggled instead of just the same. Here we have a comparator reading that one, going into a block with the torch sticking out the side. And then a comparator this way, a lamp behind it, and then dust straight into it. Now, you might need to toggle this in order to get the initial setup. I think right now it's fine. Once items start flowing through, this torch will turn off and then it'll allow this whole system to work. But if the lamp is off and these dusts are in the opposite states, you can just toggle it by replacing this torch. Now, on the opposite side, you would just mirror this section, but I'm gonna show you how it would work in Bedrock. In Bedrock, instead of this also works in Java, but in Bedrock, instead of being able to use the torch, it adds delay, so we want to use the comparators going straight into the blocks powering the hoppers. This needs to be a comparator. What that does mean is we need 2 of these lamps right here. Now, the comparator that reads the pot and toggles it off is the same. This torch will power both the top and the bottom, but what we want is for the bottom one to be locked and the top one to be unlocked. So what we'll do is we'll flip the bottom one state like that, and now the bottom one's unlocked and the top one's locked. And then when we add that torch back in, yeah, that'll do it. The bottom one's locked and the top one's unlocked. Now it's in fill-up mode. And then we just wire in the input. For this, it is a little more complicated because you need to power both that one and this one. There are a couple ways of doing this. One of the easiest is to come over here, put the dust straight into this block. Oh, that torch is going to be off for the most part, so that's not going to be a problem. And when that torch does turn on, you want to toggle these, and this redstone only interacts with these, so that should be fine. And then another line of dust up here to toggle this one. Now when this torch turns on, it'll toggle both dusts, and it'll flip the states of these. And now it's set up. Yeah, that's how you would set up. And then you just need your chests on top. I like to put them like this, so they're a little symmetric, so they look a little like they're in a line. And you're set up. Now you just put into these chests the items that you want to filter through. Then when you take an item out of here, it'll send through an item. Yeah, anywho's, hope you enjoyed. Yeah, this is basically all I added to xisuma's design. That's xisuma's. Anywho's, let's check over here on the shulker box, and as you can see, it is full up with a stack from every item, and there's nothing in the hoppers behind it. It's exactly one stack from every item from this line. Hope you enjoyed.